Good Monday morning, Market Chameleons, and those joining us for the first time. Thanks for coming by and checking out the Market Chameleon pre-market show with this man, all the way from somewhere sunny and beautiful, Dimitri Parkmonic. How you doing, D?
Good morning, Will. How are you?
Good. You want to start with a disclaimer?
Yep. Good morning, everyone. Before we get started, keep in mind, Will and I and Market Chameleon, we're not a registered investment advisor. We're not a broker dealer. We're not telling you what to do. We're just sharing ideas. If you need advice, call your registered investment advisor, call your broker. That's what they're there for, to give you advice, provide you with guidance.
All right.
There's the disclaimer.
Before we get started, everyone should know, I think it's only half day of trading today, right?
Yep. Today is only
1 p.m. Eastern time close, so just be aware of that, everybody.
Yeah, and tomorrow we're closed for 4th of July. So
correct.
Half day today, tomorrow we're closed, Wednesday regular trading. Before we get started, if anybody is joining us for the first time, Will and I, we do this show in the morning to help answer questions you may have about the Market Chameleon tools, data, analytics. If you want to come on the show and ask your question live, we provide a link to Zoom on that live chat on YouTube. Click on it. Once you get over to Zoom, click on raise your hand. You could ask your question live. If you prefer to type your question, you could put that into the live chat on YouTube. Will's reading that. He's watching that. He'll read the questions back to me. While we're waiting for more people to join us or for people to start entering their questions, we'll start out with the pre-market report, see what's trading in pre-market hours. If we could get any insights, then we'll move on to questions. If we don't get any questions, I'll continue on some of the conversations we've been having last week. All right, so
perfect.
Pre-market report. These are stocks trading in the pre-market hours. I'm going to scroll down and we have 3 lists here, a list of our most active stocks, our biggest percentage gainers, biggest percentage decliners. I see there are 68 stocks that made our percentage gainers list, 17 on our decliners. So right now, from this perspective, we're looking like we're setting up for a bullish bias at the open. I'm going to also scroll up here to the top, and we have this calendar view. You can see some dates here. Right now, we're on July 3rd. And here we get a breakdown of what's going on in the pre-market hours from the high level. So we have on one side stocks that are up in a pre-market from the previous day's close and stocks that are down. So we got 506 stocks so far trading in the pre-market hours that traded in pre-market hours higher than the previous day's close, 228 lower. As far as volume, 125.2 million shares trading higher versus 22 million lower. And if we convert the volume into dollar volume or notional value, $2.5 billion worth of stock trading higher versus $765 million lower so far in the pre-market. And that also confirms a bullish bias right now at the open. Another thing we could do is I'm going to scroll down back to this list, and we see we have some filters here. And in this list, you could see that we have stocks in there that are low cap stocks, ETFs, leverage products, preferreds, anything that's trading or listed on the major US exchange and trading in a pre-market hour, and that meets our thresholds for volume and price and so forth, that it could make this list. And to narrow down this list, we could use the filters above here. And as an example, I'm going to use this one in ETF. When you click on that filter, you get a drop-down menu to choose from. And the first one, SPY, that's S&P 500 ETF. You got some other ETFs in there that are either broad-based or sector-based. Let's just click on SPY. And the list below will get filtered by stocks that are holdings in the SPY ETF, which are the S&P 500 constituents. And here we got 4 stocks that made our percentage gainers list, 1 on a decliner. And keep in mind, these have to meet certain thresholds to make this list. So again, that is showing that slightly positive, bias at the open so far. And the big one, I think here, Tesla sticks out, up 5.4%. And I think that was on news that they sold more cars or delivered more cars than expected.
Selling a lot of cars.
Selling a lot of cars. And I believe that, the forecasts were that they may have to lower the prices or cut prices to increase sales, but it looks like now that their sales are pretty good, that they may not have to decrease the prices any further. They do have some competition there, though, in China. What was that? BYD?
NIO, maybe? NIO?
Yeah. That is giving them, let me unfilter this. Let me just see if that will pop in there. It's not an S&P 500, but let me see if I could find that. Well, here's NIO.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's either NIO or I think there's another company. I can't find it in here.
Nah, NIO is the big publicly traded one, I think.
Yeah. So those 2 car manufacturers doing pretty well. And for the most part, the economy is holding up pretty, with 5%. What are we at? 5% now in the risk-free rate, and the economy is holding up pretty well. We're not seeing really huge drop off in demand yet. And then on top of that, we have this excitement about AI technology. Let's see what we got. We're already a couple minutes in there, so if we have questions, I'll take them now.
No questions have popped up, D.
Okay. Let me kind of revert to a question we had from last week. I'm going to go to SPY. And I'm on SPY now. I'm going to go to the options chain here. So the question was, we started to create some new analytical tools around 0 DTE options. These are options that will be that expire the same day, right? So today we're going to see new option that's listed in the morning, but at the end of the day, it will expire. So you only really have this day, right, until the end of this day with that option. So, the option starts at 9:30. If it's 12 o'clock, you do a transaction at 12 o'clock, you only have till, the end of the day, and then that option will expire. And they're very popular. And there are benefits. There are definitely certain benefits trading 0 DTEs over longer dated options. We've discussed that many times. And what we started to do is say, okay, what kind of analytics, what kind of tools can we create to help users of those options? And I'll discuss some of them right now, but we are going to be doing a webinar on it on next Tuesday. Is that next Tuesday, Will, with Interactive Brokers?
Yep, next Tuesday at 2. The 0 DTE options data analysis and risk management webinar will occur.
Right.
July 11th.
So
I'll put that link in the chat. Thanks for reminding me. Right, so people can register.
Yeah. So next Tuesday we'll go over, we'll go over it, take more questions, and you do have to register with Interactive Brokers to watch that webinar live, because this is hosted by Interactive Brokers. It's within their platform. And if you register and if you miss it, you could still go back and watch it. But we'll look at a few examples today, and then next Tuesday we'll go over this, in a more detail. But let's just take a look at SPY here. And this here is the options chain from Friday. Friday's close. We're not open yet on, this is Monday morning. So the 0 DTE options we have from Friday to take a look at. And this here is a snapshot at 3:59:30. So the last snapshot we take 30 seconds before the market close, before the market's widen out. And I'm just going to go, let's just go back maybe an hour. So, well, before I do that, if we come down here, we could go back in time to see a snapshot earlier in the day, what the markets were earlier in the day. And here you have different times to select from. You could see where the stock price was at the time of the snapshot. So, for example, let's say we go back to 3 o'clock. So I'm going to click on 3 p.m. Eastern, and the options chain here will go back and show us what were the options at 3 p.m. This is where the stock price was, and this is where each option, where the options were, the bids and offers were. And let's say we wanted to look at the straddle. So with 1 hour to go on Friday, we could see the calls were around 40 cents, the puts around 52 cents, with the stock 443.88. So I'm going to click on the offer on that call. Well, let's just look at the call for now. All right. I'm going to click on that at 3 o'clock, and we see that this call was 41 cents. And if we click on calculate, first we get a diagram. This is an option profit calculator, or diagram of what this option would look like at the end of the day, at expiration. So depending where the stock is, this option could be profitable or not profitable, right? So if it's below the strike, this option's worthless. If it's above the strike, it's in the money. And if you paid 41 cents, it's got to go above the 41 cents above that strike for it to become profitable. And we want to get a sense of, well, how's this option priced relative to how the stock usually moves with 1 hour to go, right? So we know that it's 3 o'clock, and let's just say there's only 1 hour left, and we want to know, is 41 cents, is that a high price or low price or fair price to pay for this option with only 1 hour to go? Because with 1 hour to go, the stock moves differently than, with 1 day or 1 week or 3 weeks, because it has less and less time to move. So how does it usually behave with 1 hour to go? We don't know if it's going to go up or down or what it's going to do. We just want to see from a historical perspective. So I'm going to go here to the distribution theo. And well, first of all, this is set to the last snapshot. So I'm going to go to 3 o'clock. So let's just go to 3 o'clock. Okay. And I'm going to rerun this. So I'm going to say, at 3 o'clock, reload this strategy and tell me, on average, between 3 and 4 o'clock, based on how the stock moves. Sometimes it's going to move up, sometimes it's going to move down, sometimes it's going to just stay unchanged. On average, what is the end value of this call based on historical stock moves? right? So here we get 37 cents. Okay. 3 o'clock, 37 cents. The option was 40 cents. So it's close, right? That's it, it's close, probably a little bit, above that average. You can see that's with 66 observations. What about if we give 40 cents? If we give 40 cents with 1 hour to go, what is the historical win rate? What is the historical frequency that the stock, probability that the stock went up by a big enough percentage in that hour to make this call profitable? Well, that happened 30.3% of the time. So you see, if we click this view down here, we're getting all these dates going back, and we see this is what the stock moved in that last hour. Okay. And if it did that again, we could see where this stock would have closed, what the value of the option would be. So we could see that out of all these observations, 30.3 of them ended up being profitable versus 40 cents, would have been above that 40 cents. In addition, with that 1 hour to go, we could see that the stock can fluctuate right in between that hours. So there, from if we just took the stock's peak, right? So if we have 1 hour to go, and let's say within an hour, by the end of the hour, the stock's up 50 cents, but somewhere in between there, could have gone up as high as $1 and then come back in. So if we measured the peak within each of those hours, then we have a probability of even touching this of 45.5%, the historical probability, right? So we don't know the future, we just know historically that's how it moved around. So now what we're doing is looking at intraday data. We're not looking at day-to-day or weekly. We're looking very narrowed down by hour, by minute, whatever we want. But we're looking at intraday short-term data because that's what zero DTEs are, right? Zero DTEs are not looking at average volatility for the next week. It's not looking for the average volatility for the year. It's looking at the potential movement of that stock given how much time is left in that day. All right. So let's say we wanted to narrow this down a little bit further and say, you know what? Maybe not only are we interested in the last hour, but maybe moves differently given the days of the week. So on Fridays, maybe Fridays has a lower news cycle, right? It doesn't have as many economic events coming out on Friday, especially at 3 o'clock. The companies don't usually announce any type of earnings after, on Fridays. It's a little bit less volatile. So what if we took our data and narrowed it down further to just the Friday, right? Because this is we're looking at Friday's data. So I'm going to click on that.
Hey, D?
Yeah.
Would you just walk through, someone lands on this on Market Chameleon, how they walk to this page again?
Yeah. So if you go to SPY, QQQ, right now it has to be a zero DT option. So there, we don't have zero DT options on all the stocks right now. There are only really on a consistent basis, they're only in SPY and QQQ. I think maybe IWM, I don't know if they have one zero DT every day. I think they have like maybe weeklies in there, maybe every other day. So for the most part, the zero DTs are SPY, QQQ. You go to the options chain, and then to bring it up, if you click on the zero DTE option, which is the first expiration. This will now pick that up, that this is a 0 DTE, and you'll have this analysis for you once you click on these options. So again, it has to be 0 DTT, 0 DTE option. When you click on that expiration, our system picks it up and it'll switch to this analysis. Okay. So just like you would, just like you guys used to do from the options chain, distribution Theo, same idea there, but now it switches intraday data. Okay. So let me continue on this real quick. So now we're at 3 p.m. And we got our distribution of returns, and we figured out on average, we think that the value of this option is 37 cents. Right now it's 40 cents. So it's pretty close, a little bit higher. The probability of buying this option and it going in the money above the premium that you paid is 30.3%. And the probability of it touching the going into money and touching where you break even on that premium is 45.5. So now we want to narrow down our data, right? Because our analysis is of the data. That's what we're analyzing, is the historical data. So maybe we want to clean that data a little bit further, get it a little bit more in line with the situation that we're analyzing. And like I said, we're looking at Friday's data. So let's switch. We're going to narrow down our data and we're going to switch to Friday. So Fridays, now we're going to go look for Fridays, 3 p.m. to the close. I'm going to reload that. So you can see now we narrowed down the data, and we can see that at that point, we get a different situation. So Fridays seemed to me that the stock tended to probably move higher more often than the other days of the week. So now we have a 52-cent theoretical value. Win rate, pretty close. It's actually a little bit lower. The probability of touch is a little bit higher, meaning that here it's indicating to me that on Fridays, the market, did have a little bit better upside than the other days of the week. Okay. So again, you're looking at the data, trying to make a fair assessment. We also have this dynamic range where it narrows down the data based on where the implied volatilities are in general in the IB30. We could release that, reload it, and pretty much the same here. Got a couple more minutes. So if you're okay with that, I'm going to go now to a different way, a different angle to analyze this option. Okay. Well, no questions?
None.
So this one is going to be analyzing the option from a different perspective, right? Keep in mind, there are many different ways we could go and analyze a security, right? And now we want to analyze it from the perspective of where are the option premiums usually around this time of day. So this distribution, Theo, was based on how the stock moved. Did the stock move enough historically to cover the cost of that premium? Okay, and how often on average? Now we want to see, well, irrelevant of how the stock moved, is this premium that where the options are priced, is it higher or lower than where it's usually priced on average? All right, now we're just looking at it pure premium. So we're looking at the option versus historical option prices instead of the option versus historical stock movements. So here we're looking at, at 3 p.m. So we set this, we have this set. Oh, wait a minute. Right. So we have this set for 3 p.m. Right. And what we want to see is where, going back in time, where was the option premium priced relative to the spot price, right? Where was it usually priced? And then we want to see, right, on average. So you could see, sometimes higher, sometimes lower. Got, 70 observations right now. So you could see on average, it would be around 44 cents. That this call on average would be around 44 cents. Friday was 41 cents. So close, a little bit below. And we've seen it as high as $1.27, lows as low as 15 cents. Okay. With 1 hour to go. If we wanted to narrow that down further, maybe like we did before for Friday, click on that and let's see how it did on Fridays. Reload. So on Fridays, you could see that it was even a little bit higher, than every day of the week. 49 cents versus 41. And if we wanted to look at the range, as high as 87, low as 24. So this helps make a better, more informed decision assessing an option or an option strategy, right? We could do this. We could set up a straddle and run the same analysis, a spread, or a multi-leg strategy, and then run it through this analysis on 0 DTE option. So we're right up at the end of the day. I'm sorry, at the end of
almost the end of the day.
Yeah, almost the end of the day. The end of the day is shorter today. Up till 9:30, we're almost at 9:30 before the bell opens. We'll talk about this more next Tuesday, but I did want to show you at least some of the tool that you guys could start testing out and using right now.
Yeah, for anyone who came in late, overslept, whatever, there is a link to the Market Chameleon IBKR webinar on 0 DTEs next Tuesday in the chat. You have to register because it is via IBKR, so they control all the information. Once you register, you don't have to see it live. You can come, they'll notify you, and you can watch it at your time. Awesome job, D. Remember, everyone closed at 1 today. Tomorrow is off for the 4th of July, and we'll be back on Wednesday, the 5th.
Yep. All right. Thanks, everyone. Stay safe out there. Have a great trading day. Enjoy the holidays, and hope to see you guys on Wednesday.
All right.